Here's the pass to Leitner. Puts it up. Yes! The time, 18. Shot, Jordan. Michael Jordan, 14 seconds. Brown. Look outside. This is the point where he always hits it. Oh! Aaron Harrison beyond belief.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of At Large Bid. I'm Parker Fields here, as always, with my co-host Neil Meyer. And today we got a special guest. Today we got Ethan Bach, writer out of West Virginia, covers the West Virginia men's basketball team and all things West Virginia. Ethan, how are you doing today?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. So today we have a special episode. We're going to talk all things transfer portal, as that's really all we can talk about in the offseason. I don't really know what else we'd really talk about. So we're going to talk a little bit about the transfer portal, give you our thoughts on some of the commitments that have happened, and then also some of the people that are uncommitted and think and where we think they're going to go and everything like that. But first off, do you guys want to get into the people who haven't committed yet or the people who have committed first?
Let's start with the ones who have committed.
Okay. So obviously we've had some big commitments. Louisville obviously got Sky Clark, former 5-star recruit. We can talk a little bit about him. What do you guys think he's going to add to that Louisville team that won 4 games, I believe, last season?
Can't get worse.
Yeah, he's got to do something.
Yeah, I think that's a great addition. Obviously, you land Sky Clark, who was a former 5-star recruit, went to Illinois this past season. Then you get our guy, Trenton Flowers, to reclassify into the 2023 class. So, I mean, the future's right there. I mean, they have 2 very talented guards coming in. Obviously, Sky Clark's coming off an injury, and then he's having a new start right down the road in Louisville. And then you have Trenton Flowers, who's a 6'9" complete guard who can basically do just about everything. He can score on all 3 levels. So, overall, what Kenny Payne's building down there is very exciting. So, I'm very excited to see what Louisville can do next year.
Yeah, I'm with you, Neil. I definitely like what Louisville's done. Obviously, we can get into another transfer with that Louisville team. We got L. Ellis going to Arkansas, and Arkansas overall was really active at the portal. They got Davenport, Jeremiah Davenport, who Neil and I know very well from covering UC and everything like that. That's definitely I'd say it's a shocking pickup, to be honest with you. I'm shocked he landed at Arkansas. I thought he was honestly going to transfer down, to be honest with you. I kind of had a feeling he might go mid-major, and he ended up transferring up after definitely a disappointing season this year at UC.
Yeah, so Arkansas, it's not surprising to me. Obviously, Musselman comes with high energy. JD carries himself with high energy. They struggled shooting the ball last year, and we all know when JD is hot, he can get hot. That's just
a matter. He can get cold, though, too.
Yeah, that's a matter of stay consistent. But overall, I think it's a great fit, obviously, for JD in terms of the coaching style and just his overall personality. I think it fits with Musselman. But the real question is, what's going to be the role? Because obviously, as you mentioned, Arkansas has been very active in the portal. And I mean, I think we've kind of talked about this off the record a little bit. It's kind of like, how many scholarships is Arkansas out here offering? Because they had Khalif Battle, they had Jeremiah Davenport, had L. Ellis, they had the kid from Washington as well. And then they also had Tremont Mark from Houston. So overall, you're adding 5 guys, and 3 of those guys averaged nearly 15 points a game in Khalif Battle, L. Ellis, and then Tremont Mark. So, I mean, what's going to be the role there?
That's the toughest thing to figure out with Jeremiah. Is like he's like it's a weird fit. Like the energy level definitely with Muss will work. It's just what does Muss want out of him? Is he going to play like that small 4 with Arkansas, or is he actually going to play like a 3, like at the wing? Like, but then they bring in all those guards. So, like, I have no idea what they're going to do with JD. And like you guys said, like he's either hot or he's not. So it's definitely an interesting fit. And
yeah,
I'm sure Musselman will make it work though. He's a magician in the portal.
I agree with you there, Ethan. He Jeremiah's kind of like a less talented Russell Westbrook in terms like you always know he's going to give you 1,000% energy no matter what. You just don't know what offense is going to show up with that on a night to night basis. And it's just a little bit inconsistent. I'm interested to see like how big his role is going to be on this Arkansas team. Like, do you guys project him being a starter, a 6-man? What do you guys think?
I see him coming off the bench, probably like a 6th, 7th man off the bench, because obviously we know Tremont Mark very well, and I mean that's a guy who's able to give you buckets anytime. He's very capable of putting up 15 to 20 each and every night. And then Khalif Battle, before he left the team this season, I mean, he was averaging nearly 20 points a game. So, I mean, Khalif Battle's a very good point guard. And then L. Ellis, if he does decide to come back after testing the waters, that's another guy who is capable. But there's only one ball in all things. So, I mean, you got to know last year they really struggled with shooting. They really couldn't stay healthy. Obviously, they saw Anthony Black, Nick Smith Jr. go down, battle injuries, Jordan Walsh as well. So, I mean, they added the shooting they needed, but it's just now going to be, hey, how's this all going to fit and piece together?
I think Jeremiah should come off the bench as well. And that's no discredit to JD. It's just he can be that guy off the bench that brings energy, hits a couple threes, gets them on a run. I think it will work too. They just have to find the right role for him.
Yeah, I agree that he just needs a nice role on the team. I think he needs a consistent role because his role really wasn't consistent this year at UC. It changed obviously a few times. So, yeah, as long as he has some stability, I think he'll be a good pickup for them, definitely.
But yeah, now we also get into it. Like, I know Jordan Walsh made the decision today to where he's going to test the draft waters, but still maintain his eligibility.
I think he'll be back. I think he'll get drafted.
I think he'll be back as well. So next year's Arkansas team is going to look pretty interesting, to say the least.
Definitely.
Yeah, they haven't even dipped their toes into getting like a wing or a big guy yet, like in the portal. So, I mean, like we joke that Muss has unlimited scholarships, but it does seem like that. It seems like
does this guy run out of scholarship offers? Seriously, you're right, Ethan. Like, I feel like Arkansas every year in the portal gets like 6 guys because like they've had some nice recruiting classes recently, but like obviously it's not like the hottest destination for 5-star recruits, but it's definitely been a lot better recently and it's definitely grown. But the portal, like Musselman dominates the portal.
No, he has a staff just to recruit the portal. Like,
yeah,
they have guys designated just to contact kids in the portal, and then they pass them on to another coach in the staff. It's crazy how their system works.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Ethan, I want you to give us some thoughts, give us some insight. Obviously, since you're a West Virginia guy, you know that team really well. What are your thoughts on what they've been doing in the portal and some of their activity?
Yeah, definitely. Like almost getting to that point of Arkansas territory where they just get a lot of guys each year in the portal. I think Hugs and his staff are still learning. Like I wouldn't say they're a year behind anymore, like they were last year, as in adapting to the portal. But this year they took that extra step. They took that next step up, and instead of just getting Power 5 starters, they're getting top guys in the portal, like Jesse Edwards from Syracuse, Kirk Creesha from Arizona, Jose Perez, MAAC preseason player of the year. So I like their class. They're not done. They just hosted Caleb Grill from Iowa State, planning on hosting John Hughley from Pitt. Like they have a lot of guys that they still are targeting. So hey, Hug. Everybody gave Huggins crap for being kind of behind in the NIL portal, new era of college basketball. But him and his staff, they're out in the portal. They're recruiting top guys to West Virginia. So it's clearly working. It's going to be interesting if they take that next step and get into like the top 5, top 4 range of the Big 12 next year.
Yeah. Definitely. Because West Virginia's kind of just been in that, not mediocrity because they've been making the tournament a good amount of like in recent years. They've just kind of haven't been, an elite team in a few years now. And like West Virginia has been a great program, obviously under Bob Huggins. He's one of the greatest coaches of all time. And we were talking about before we got on camera, how we think he just wants that title bad because he could really cement himself as maybe a top 5 coach ever in college basketball. And, yeah, he's definitely going to go out there and go swing for the fences to try and get some guys to make that happen.
Yeah,
how are you feeling about the whole edition so far, Ethan? There, obviously, Kirk Reese is a very veteran point guard. He's able to do a lot of different things. And you bring in a talented big in Jesse Edwards. How are you feeling about those two guys right now? Obviously, they have a lot of guys returning. A lot of those guys are using that fifth year and extra COVID year to come back. Just how are you feeling about that roster right now?
Yeah, it's filling out well. Like last year at this point, like West Virginia had 5 guys total on the roster and 1 starter returning. Like, and to go from that to where now they have pretty much the whole team filled out, like it's a huge difference. And taking that next step, like last year they got Eric Stevenson, Emmett Matthews, Trey Mitchell, Joe Toussaint. Like those guys are great. They're great. Those are good portal additions, but they almost need to take that next step up and get guys that are like potential 2, 3, like 1, 2, or 3 options on a national title team, and going out and getting Kirk Risha, who led the Pac-12 in assists, shot almost 40% from 3, or Jesse Edwards, who averaged a double-double with 2.7 blocks a game. Like they definitely, those two definitely pad the stat box. Like, they're definitely going to be impact players. And like Jose Perez, like everybody doesn't talk about Jose Perez and Omar Savario. Like those guys are scorers. They're coming from lower major programs, but at the same time, like Jose Perez was his conference preseason player of the year. Like he's going to be good.
Yeah, hell, like just from experience, like me watching Kentucky a lot and everything. I mean, Antonio Reeves obviously had a horrible last game, but he came from a small school and he was Kentucky's best scorer all year long. He had a horrible game to end the season. They probably would have been in that Sweet 16 if he just made 20% of his shots. But
yeah, I mean,
you can get great players in the portal from those mid-major schools that can be your best player. Hell,
they'll like guys will transfer up and their stats will go down, but it doesn't mean they've
exactly
progressed. It's just the competition level.
And I say this all the time too. The biggest difference between mid-major and high-major basketball is the big man. It's not the guards. The guards can play. Like if you're a Division I guard, you can play. It's just there's so many guards out there, but big men is the big difference because you just don't see 7-footers and stuff at the low major level.
Yeah, definitely agreed. Like Jesse Edwards, 6'11", 235. Like he's coming from Syracuse. It's not like he's coming from a low major program. He's coming from Syracuse. So it's going to be interesting. West Virginia's not done, and everybody in the Big 12 is not done. There's a lot of teams in the Big 12 that have to retool as well. So it's going to be an interesting next couple months for sure.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if the Big 12 is going to be as loaded as it was last year in terms of like how many teams made the tournament, how many teams were competitive to the very end to make the tournament. I'm gonna be curious if it's as deep as it was last year. And UC's obviously coming in. UC is going to be another team that could make a run potentially at becoming a tournament team next year. They've definitely taken steps in the right direction with Wes Miller. So, Other portal news, let's talk a little bit about some guys that haven't signed yet. Obviously, Hunter Dickinson, he's a little clickbait of this title. Big-time player from Michigan, been a huge player at Michigan the last couple of years. Where do you guys think he ends up?
I'll let Ethan go first on that one.
I like Kansas. Like I really like that they have the official visit this week. As we're recording, actually, they just picked up Towson transfer Nicholas Timberlake. Another top name in the portal. So they can keep that momentum going, bring in Dickinson for a visit. I think they lock him up.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think Kansas is the easy favorite. Obviously, knowing what he has done at Michigan, what he's able to do, and then you add him into a system with Bill Self. Obviously, you know the history behind Kansas's recruiting class. They landed Nick Timberlake as well, as Ethan just mentioned. So, I mean, put those guys along together. I think the momentum's starting to kind of build up right there for Hunter Dickinson to Kansas. I think I was looking at On3 earlier today, and they got him at like a 96% to Kansas. So safe to say, I think Kansas is the lead favorite right now for him.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you guys that it's the favorite. He just doesn't seem like a Kansas player to me. I don't know. Does he like? I just can't picture him in a Kansas uniform.
Neither does Timberlake.
Yeah, no, not at all.
You don't seem to fit.
Kansas really never has like that just slow but skilled post up big. They never have that. Never. Their big men are always the like athletic rim protector type. Like Embiid in college, he was not what Embiid is now. Obviously, he was just a rim protector athlete, and he was skinny back in college. Like He just doesn't seem like he just seems so much like a Gonzaga player. Like he's just Drew Timme 2.0. Like to me, that's just what I see him as. But obviously, Kansas is looking like that's where he's going to end up. It's just kind of hard for me to imagine him in a Kansas uniform, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So another big transfer. Obviously, we can start at this route. Tyler Perry from North Texas, the point guard. Where do you guys think he's heading up?
I'm gonna go I'm gonna say follows McCaslin to Texas Tech. Like Texas Tech has like six or seven guys right now. So following his coach to Texas Tech, I think I just think that's almost a clear obvious. He's got other schools on there like K-State with Jerome Tang could definitely sneak in and steal him, but I'm gonna say Texas Tech.
I like that. I mean, he's probably gonna follow his coach. I mean, as we know, like a lot of times when you're a high level player at a low major school and your coach leaves for a high major job, that's where you go. That is a trend that usually happens, and I definitely think that's likely what's going to happen again.
Yeah, I'm there with you guys on that aspect. And it leads perfectly into the topic of another player who's drawn a lot of interest. Obviously, he's coming off an official visit with K-State over the weekend, and that's Max Abmas. So a potential backcourt of Tyler Perry and potentially Max Abmas if K-State does decide to slide in. But I do think we see him go to Texas Tech, unfortunately. But Kansas State's making a lot of noise right there in the point guards. They're actively looking for one. Obviously, now Max Abmas from Oral Roberts. So I think it's down between Texas and Kansas State. I think he just announced he's setting up the official for Texas this week. So where do you guys think Max Abmas lands?
I think he's going to Kansas State. If I had to guess, I think he's headed to Kansas State. Replace Marquise Noel there. It's a good fit. It makes sense. I really think he's going to Kansas State. Obviously, as we saw this year, Jerome Tang can run his offense through a smaller point guard, let them run, pretty much just give them the keys to the ignition and just run the whole team. And obviously, Abmas is going to want to be a high usage player. He deserves to be a high usage player. He's a very skilled guard. And I'm excited to see him playing like high major basketball. I'm really excited for that because this year I picked them to beat Duke in my bracket. Now, obviously, if I put like gun to my head, had to pick, I would have picked Duke. But like obviously wanted to have fun with my bracket, everything like that. I even bet on them to, beat Duke, stuff like that. And they just looked horrible and they were just outmatched, period. Like Max Abmas did not have help out there. The team was not as good as everybody thought because they had dominated at their level. And I'm just excited to see him out there with more great players on the floor with him.
Parker, I'm going to counter you. I'm going to say, just for fun, I'm going to say Texas. I agree. Like him as a small guard, it's as a scoring small guard, a lot of usage. K-State or Texas is perfect fit, either one, because you have Marquise Noel at K-State, who he would replace if he went there, but at Texas he would replace the Marcus Carr role, and that worked way better. The Marcus Carr and Tyrese Hunter duo both at guard worked way better than what I thought it was going to work. I think Rodney Terry, I'm so glad that Texas kept Rodney Terry because he deserved the job after the whole Chris Beard situation. And I think they have a lot of momentum going for them as well. So I think Texas pulls it out and they get Max.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Kansas State. I think just as Parker really alluded to, the smaller guard, the success that Marquise Noel had last season, he was able to really play at his own pace, play freely, and I think that fits Max Abmas's game just a little bit better. So I'm gonna go Max Abmas to Kansas State.
Yeah, and I feel like this is something that's interesting to think about. I just was curious, so I wanted to look it up. Abmas is at 2562 points all time. He's going to end up being a top 5 to 6 scorer in NCAA history, which is as long as he puts up at least 18 a game still, which I definitely think he could. I definitely think that's possible either at Texas or Kansas State. And at worst, if he's putting up 15 or 14 or something, he's still going to reach the top 10 all time. So that's something that's
he could have went to Antoine Davis.
Yeah, because Antoine Davis was going to leave last year. You guys remember? He was in the portal, but he came back probably because he wanted that record. Yeah. But came up, what was it? Was it 2 points shy?
2 or 3.
That's
Yeah,
just
it was 3 or
brutal.
4. It wasn't much.
literally like a
I think it was
basketball.
2 to tie, 3 to take the
Yeah,
that's so brutal. But
and they didn't get the CBI invite either.
yeah, no, that's tough. He's gonna be thinking about that the rest of his life. Nah, that dude's gonna go average 40 in like Germany or something. He's gonna be
Yeah.
overseas destroying. But yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple low key transfers that have already committed. Today, I believe it, or no, not today. Sorry, last week, Nelly Jr. Joseph committed to New Mexico. That's a big pickup because I watched him a good amount because I was curious to watch Iona a little bit this year when they'd be on ESPN Plus or whatever because of Rick Pitino and everything. I was thinking he was going to follow Pitino, honestly, to St. John's, but he's going to New Mexico. That's going to be a big pickup for New Mexico. For the Lobos.
Yeah, no, most definitely. They added a high scorer out there, Nelly Joseph. So I'm right there with you, Parker. I definitely would have expected him to follow Coach Pitino to St. John's, but New Mexico is a very good fit for him. So me personally, I like that fit for him.
Yeah, I can't think of do either of you guys know what the name of New Mexico's big man was this past season? I can't think of his name. He was a beast on the block.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. Did he graduate or is he coming back?
Ooh,
that's why I didn't know.
I think he's out of eligibility because he was at Wichita for a while.
Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure he's out of eligibility. That's a perfect spot. That's a perfect spot for Nelly Jr. Joseph. I was just wondering because I was like,
better following. If you're not following Rick, follow his son at Mexico. Like he's gonna. That's a perfect. I think he could have.
I literally didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that.
No, yeah.
I literally didn't think about that. You're right.
I think he's a Power 5 player. I think New Mexico. It's like in that the Mountain West that's a great conference.
That's pretty much like high major basketball.
Yeah.
Like you got Boise State out there. You got New Mexico. Like you got some good teams. You got San Diego State. Like Colorado State's even competitive. You got a good conference there.
Yeah,
like that's definitely a good conference.
It's a perfect balance for him for competitive, and he can still put up his numbers.
Yeah, I still think he'll probably put up close to a double-double out there for sure.
Yep.
I watched them a few times this year, and they run a lot of their offense when it's not through Jamal Mashburn Jr., it's through their big man, Odesi, like you said. I just didn't know his name. I couldn't remember. I just remember seeing that dude had like a 35-point game one time I was watching him, so definitely a good spot then if he can get touches down low and everything.
Yeah, so we mentioned some other transfers who are still out there. Obviously, Ethan, you're very familiar with this guy being a Big 12 guy. Musa Cisse is now back in the portal for looking at his third school. I mean, obviously, that's a big-time target. What's your feeling on there? Obviously, you got to watch him up close when Oklahoma State and West Virginia played each other. I got to see him at Memphis when he was there for the 1 year. What are you feeling right there? Where do you think he ends up?
Yeah, it seems like he enters every year almost. Seems like a transfer portal legend at this point.
Transfer portal.
He's at the point now where he's going to need a waiver next year. Like unless it's really bad at Oklahoma State, which it could be with Avery Anderson leaving, Caleb Boone leaving, Woody Newton as well. So there's something going on at Oklahoma State, and Cisse left as well. So he's probably gonna have to sit out since Boynton didn't get fired or he didn't leave. No coaching change. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I bet he stays at Power 5 level. I think I saw somewhere on Twitter that Penny's actually recruiting him again. So
yeah, I saw that.
Maybe he ends up back at Memphis.
That would be insane.
That would be pretty wild. It
wouldn't shock me though at all.
What are your guys' thoughts on transfer portal legends? Do you think people should be able to like transfer multiple times? Like, what do you guys think about that? Do you guys like it? Do you not?
Me personally, I think the rule of twice and then needing a waiver is perfect because it gives you the free option to go somewhere else. But then if you go after twice, like needing a waiver is
if you need to transfer 3 times in your 5 years you have of 4
years. It's only have the COVID year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's only 5 years for everybody that was in college in 2020, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So people are almost out of that eligibility. It's going to be how many more classes? Like 2 of the COVID.
This is the last. This should be the last. Like this should be.
Yeah,
the
I think
last.
this is the last.
I think
year.
it's. No, it'll be next. One more transfer portal after this year will be.
Yeah.
of COVID
And then
year people.
we'll probably have like weird, like guys getting hurt for a whole year.
Yeah, there's gonna
Really
be
weird
grad transfers
situation.
still. Yeah.
Yeah, but me personally, I love the new waiver idea because it's just easy too to think about it because as we talk about, you're running out of that COVID year, you're running out of that extra year, and then it's like, okay, well, if I'm going to school 3 and 4 years or school 3 years, like, hey, like you're just bouncing.
Maybe you're the problem at that point.
Like you're just bouncing around from school to school. Like you're not going to find a home and find somewhere to develop you if that's what your goal is long term. If you keep bouncing around, so if you're looking for someone that's going to develop you and whatnot, bing, it's perfect. You can go to that one school, you get that one free transfer, and then you're like, okay, I'm here. Like it makes you think about the whole process a little more, and then people are like, okay, this is what I actually want to do. This is where I want to go. So that's what I think on it. At least I think the waiver rule is now perfect.
What'd you guys think of Xavier Wheeler going to Washington? Do you guys think he'll do anything there? Because he's a former Cat.
like
What is up with
there's-
Washington just poaching all the former Kentucky players? Keon Brooks, Quade, and now
I was gonna say,
Wheeler.
I feel like SEC players always somehow end up going to Washington at some point.
He poaches all the Kentucky guys. Their coach poaches all the Kentucky guys.
His numbers will go up. I can tell you that.
Yeah,
He
he'll
should
probably put up.
do well there.
I mean, yeah, I didn't even realize Brooks averaged 18 this last year. Keon Brooks.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy though. Like as you mentioned, like now looking back on it, like most of the guys who didn't work out at Kentucky are now out there in Pac-12 country just going off. So I mean, I'm curious to see what Wheeler does out there.
DJ
Yeah,
Wagner,
definitely.
future Husky? Question mark.
TJ Wagner future. Yeah, obviously, like we can talk a little bit about recruiting before we get out of here, like some of the top recruits and everything. Like, where do you guys think Bronny's going to end up? Because I'm curious. I feel like he's going to USC. I feel like he is, but like same time, I also could see him, going to the Nike factory over at Oregon. So, and being the guy over at Oregon. So I want to see because he's honestly truly like skyrocketed this last year. Like before it was like he's overrated, ranked in the top 30, top 40 because he's LeBron's son. And now it's like he's a top 10 pick next year in the projections and like on his own, not because he's LeBron's son. So I'm curious to see where he ends up.
Yeah, I see him going right. I see him staying home and staying at USC. Obviously, the local, it's right there in his hometown, basically. Like
not his hometown where he's at. That's not his hometown.
Well, yeah, but
he'd
basically
be at
right
Cleveland State or Akron. No, he'd be at Akron.
It's right there where he's growing up playing high school ball. So I mean,
Yeah.
he can stay local. He can see his dad still playing the league. But I mean, obviously, you got to think
and LeBron can go to USC games.
Yeah. But then you also throw in the factor of him, say he goes to Oregon. Obviously, we know LeBron's relationship with Nike. We know how close he is with Phil Knight. Like the whole Oregon right there, Nike headquarters, like Oregon
Your
could.
dad is literally the face of Nike.
Right. Oregon could literally if Oregon lands Bronny, I think that would be significant.
I think he might go to Oregon. I feel like he would have already committed to USC, kind of like if he was going to USC. Like it makes way more sense to go to USC, but like why hasn't he committed
waiting,
yet? Is my
so
thing.
he pushes it back. It seems like he pushes this commitment back.
I mean, it's almost May, guys. Like seriously, it's almost May.
And he's say at the beginning of the year that'd be after his
senior year.
Yeah, after the
that
year.
ended 2 months ago. Yeah.
Unless he's gonna wait until he graduates Sierra Canyon, like
like what? That doesn't make sense though, because guys report in late May, early June for workouts.
Yeah,
but now doesn't it give you guys the feeling too? The longer and longer you wait, does it kind of give you guys a feeling like, okay, he might actually be taking the G League option or overseas, or I don't see him taking.
I don't think he's going overseas. But I don't see that.
It gives you that. It gives you that
G
feeling.
League, yeah.
Like, okay.
He could. I'm not saying like
he's gonna go play for the South Bay Lakers, dude.
His caliber, like he's too talented to get screwed over in the with the portal recruitment. But like he's almost going to get affected at this point. Like USC and Oregon can't wait.
Yeah,
another 2 months for him to.
Yeah, like what is he doing? I don't know.
And it would be curious for him to go to USC. Obviously, because they have Boogie Ellis using his 5th year of eligibility. Then they bring in arguably the best player in the class, and Isaiah Collier.
Yeah,
so it would be curious, but I think it would be pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, like Boogie Ellis might be taking the bench, dude. I don't see Bronny. Bronny isn't going to school somewhere where he's coming off the bench. No,
No,
shot.
absolutely not. Absolutely
No
not.
shot.
Maybe
So
they
he's
start
like-
all three guards. You start Boogie at the 3.
Would we start Bronny at the point? I'd say, because Bronny's definitely a pass first player.
You could go pass first, but Isaiah Collier, if you watch him, he's able to do it all. So I
I
mean,
was gonna say there's only one ball. Like
Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, this just doesn't. I don't know. I don't know with USC.
and
like,
USC
what would-
always goes out in the portal and they get a couple.
They always
solid
get some good
pickups.
guys.
So yeah, it's gonna be interesting where he lands.
Yeah, for sure. Wait, is Drew Peterson back, or is he out of eligibility? He's out of eligibility. Yeah, he's 5 years.
I was gonna say that.
I was about to say he's out of eligibility. I thought.
But
I was
there's
like-
so many guys in college basketball where you're like, does he have eligibility? And you're like,
Yeah,
shit,
there's so many
he's
like you don't
over
know.
here.
I keep like double checking people when I think of like spots for people. I'm like, wait, is this guy still there? I'm like, I don't know.
A bunch of Perry Ellis's and Mitch Lightfoots who've been in the game for.
It's
6
so funny
years.
because Timmy literally was only there his 4 years, but it just seems it's because Timmy was just like a star all 4 years. So like he was the face of the tournament every year. It's like, is this guy still? No, but Perry Ellis was there, or
Armando
Emil Jefferson
Oh,
for Duke.
yeah, or
He was there.
Delorier for Duke. He was
Why are
there.
they always coming out of Duke for
Yeah.
real?
Because Duke always has the like 60-year center on their team, like balding, like I don't
Ball.
Jack
not Mason Plumlee, but his brother. Was it
Miles?
Miles Plumlee?
Yeah.
He was there a while at Duke. It felt like he was there a while. It's always the guy that was like a backup for 4 years and then starts their 5th year at Duke. Because they don't have a good center coming in, I guess. I don't know. It's just
I feel like
funny.
Tyus Jones was there forever too.
Yeah.
I think he was only there for 2 years, but it felt like he was there for.
It did feel like he was there for like 4 years.
Yeah, because you bring in his brother who came in for 2 years. You had both. That's why they were both there. So you had both of them, just like 2 years, then 2 years off, and then Trey comes in. So it's like, oh, yeah. But what do you guys think about like some of these schools' top recruiting classes? Like, obviously, I'd say Kentucky has the best recruiting class coming in, but like it's been hit or miss for Kentucky when they've had the all 5-star recruit lineups out there. Like, I don't know. Like, as a Kentucky fan, I don't know how to feel. I mean, on paper, it looks like we're winning the national championship, but I don't know if that's going to happen because it's very hit or miss with the all freshmen out there. So,
Yeah, I think right now Kentucky's definitely got the number one recruiting.
I mean,
class.
I don't really think anybody could pass them like rankings wise. You have what, 3 of the top 4?
You have 4 in the top 10.
I think you have 3 in the top 4 though too. I think Bradshaw's 4th, and then
Yeah,
Edwards and
Bradshaw's
Wagner are
4th,
1 and 2,
and then
right?
Edwards and Wagner are 2 and 3, and then you have Robert
Oh,
Dillingham at 9.
Yeah, Collier's 1. Are you on ESPN or what?
I'm on 247.
Okay, yeah, I think ESPN's it's
ESPN has 247 has Isaiah Collier at 1.
Yeah, I think ESPN has Edwards at 1. Is what I believe.
It just doesn't work. Like I don't like hot take, and maybe not a hot take. I just don't think high school recruiting works anymore. Like
Yeah, like to win the title. Yeah, I agree with that.
you can't recruit. You can still get a 3-star or 2 3-stars in your class and try to develop them. But by that 3rd year, if they're still not starting or they haven't
They
made any,
transfer.
yeah, they're going to transfer right away. But if you get a 4 or 5-star, you have to then mesh them with all the guys.
You have to start them too. Like you're
You have
pressured to
to
start
start
them. Like Bryce Hopkins, for example. Like, was he? I think he was either a like high 4-star or a 5-star, like lower 5-star. But anyways, he was a top recruit in his class and goes to Kentucky. Doesn't play, so he transfers obviously because he wants to play. I mean, it's just shocking when you see guys that actually like stay. Like Lance Ware. He was a 5-star recruit. Guys going into his 4th year at Kentucky, still averages 2 points a game. Like, hasn't gotten any better. And he's still just backing up Shebue. And he's just, like, some guys are just content, but, like, because they like it. But most guys are just, they're out at this point if they're not starting in a couple years. And I don't blame them. I mean, there's more opportunities now than ever. And it's more of a, college basketball is starting to become a players' league, how the NBA is, where it's always been just coaches, coaches, coaches. It's starting to be more flexible on players, and like I hate to say this, but as a Kentucky, we're starting to become like the Hollywood. Like every player who comes here goes to the NBA and they're a superstar, but in college, it's just not working anymore. Like it really isn't. I don't think.
And Cal's tried to use the transfer portal to win. Like it's not like he hasn't tried, but he's also still recruiting top classes, one and done guys, and he's like trying to mesh them together.
It's like a mesh of like 24-year-olds and 18-year-olds. It's like there's no like junior, or sophomore.
He either needs to recruit the transfer portal like he does high school, where he just gets top guys, or he needs to
just do high school.
Do what he did, get the one and dones, and fill out your class fill out your team with transfer portal role players, like guys that know their role and they're willing.
Yeah, which is pretty much what they haven't signed anybody in the portal this year. And it seems like they're probably not going to, because they're probably waiting on. I feel like Sheboy's coming back. Reeves is probably coming back too, honestly. And then
Reeves on his COVID year.
Yeah, he's got another year. And then Toppin can come back too. I think he stayed open still too. So, yeah. But honestly, I don't think Toppin helps him out, to be honest. But definitely want Sheboy back. But I don't know about the other two. Like some other top recruiting classes, obviously Duke always getting top guys. What do you think about their recruiting class so far? Or not so far. It's pretty much finished up.
Shire's like he's arguably one of the best recruiters in the country with Muss and Penny and Cal. So, I thought his first year was great. Other people would think it's underwhelming, but for him to replace Coach K.
Yeah, I thought it was a great year for the ACC. The ACC was just down, so everything he did wasn't as impressive. Like they only lost like 9 games all season. It's just like because the ACC, whereas normally you lose 8 games in the regular season, you're like a 1 or 2 seed, but like the ACC was just down this year, so like the level of competition wasn't there as much, is what I think is why people think of it as more of a disappointment.
Yeah, but they had a good end of the year. Like they got momentum going for sure. I don't know, Duke's just gotta let him work. Like he's helped Coach K recruit the last 8 or so years, and then now he's on his own. So I just let him work. I think Duke's gonna be Duke still.
Yeah, you got TikTok star Jared McCain coming in. You're ready to go, dude. No, in all seriousness, he's a really good player, but yeah, Duke's got 4 or 5 stars like on 24/7. They got another really good recruiting class. I'm curious what North Carolina is going to be next year. Really curious what are they going to be?
Yeah, I think they're going to need a bounce back. Obviously, they're currently sitting at the 30th ranked recruiting class per 247. So it's just going to be a matter of time for them to rebuild. Obviously, you see Caleb Love going to Michigan. That was another.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Caleb Love, which is kind of shocking. We all kind of didn't talk about him. Like, do you guys? I kind of think he's going to be good next year at Michigan. I don't know. I feel like he's got to be better. Like he's too talented. He's too talented to be bad. It's a good fit. Yeah, like he was horrible last year, and he's too talented of a player. Like he's got to and he doesn't seem like he shies away. Like he's got to be getting all that hate and all right, I'm gonna go prove everybody wrong, because obviously he's not gonna quiver and shy away from getting hated on, because dude has never seen a shot he doesn't like. So he's definitely. I think he's gonna have a good year next year.
I think he'll have a great year out there. I really like the fit out there in Michigan.
Too.
So I think it's a great fit for him. I think he kind of needed a fresh start.
For sure.
And I think Michigan's a perfect fit for him, in all honesty.
I do too.
Just makes you question what's going on in North Carolina. Like, I don't know. Like, ever since their run
last year, it was only last year. It just seems like a while ago.
If they didn't have that run, that 6-game run last year, I don't know what Hubert Davis could go off of at all, so far.
Yeah.
Year.
Yeah. North Carolina, it's been a while now. Besides, they had a 6-game run. Yeah. But it's really been since Marcus Page was there, since they've been good, in the regular season.
Consistently really good.
Yeah. Cause Cole Anthony's team was awful. And then the Twain 2020-2021 team was horrible too. They didn't make the tournament, I don't think. Right? I don't
This
think they did.
season, they
I
didn't make
think
the tournament.
I think Kentucky, Duke, and North Carolina didn't make the tournament the weird COVID year. So and then last year obviously made it to a national championship, but they were an 8 seed. It's not like they had a great like season. They just went on a run and they were talented as hell, so they could go on a run. But like I'm with you. I don't know like schematically, like outside of talent, like really what you can like go off of with North Carolina because they just haven't put much together. And last season was definitely not. I'm gonna be honest, definitely overreacted with that number 1 ranking to start the year. Like way overreacted with that.
I'm not gonna say like I'm not gonna boast and be like, oh, I read that. Like, I think a lot of
Now
people.
you can boast.
I think a lot of people were questioned why they were number 1 preseason. Like,
I get like top 10, but 1, I was like,
yeah, 1's insane. It should have been like probably Gonzaga or Houston in retrospect. But it just I hate when people go off of the tournament run the year before and they bring back people like UCLA after they had the run to the Final Four.
with Juzang.
Yeah,
With
yeah,
Juzang.
yep. Like I understood why they got top 5 the next preseason poll, but at the same time, like even that was a little too far out. They should have probably like top 10, top 15.
Yeah, I think people were expecting Johnny Juzang to like average 25 a game that year. Like they were expecting like something insane, but in reality, he was the same player. Like
it'll be interesting to see like this next preseason poll. Does FAU the FAU probably gets top 10 like off of their run if they bring everybody back.
Like in the early like ones I saw just like from different writers and stuff, they had FAU at like 7.
Yeah, that's
like
crazy. That's crazy.
They're
like,
good. They're really good, and if they brought everybody back, they'd be really good again. But at the same time, and they'd probably be able to maintain that ranking based on.
But I don't know if they're going to make the tournament run again. Is my thing.
No.
I think they might end up.
The tournament runs.
I think they might end up being like a 2 or 3 seed, but lose in the first or second round. Is what it would happen. You know what I mean? Like if they put up another really impressive regular season, but I don't see them making the run in the tournament again. I think there was definitely some luck involved in that. I'll say like they should have lost in the first game. Like they really should have. Memphis blew that game. So they really should have been out night 1 of the tournament. So but they didn't, and they obviously went on a good run. But yeah, North Carolina, I'm not even familiar. I'm trying to look at the recruiting class right now. What do they like?
I think they have 2 4-stars.
Yeah, that's horrible. You're North Carolina. You are Jordan Brand. How are you not getting?
You have Simeon Wilcher and Zayden
Like,
High.
as a kid, even like growing up in Kentucky as a Kentucky fan, I always wanted to play for North Carolina. Like I thought it was so cool, like the uniforms, everything as a kid. Like it's North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Like how are they not recruiting kids? I don't get like.
Well, they also went big in the portal too because they added Jalen Withers from Louisville,
Yeah.
and they also added Paxton Wojcik from Brown. So they've been active in the portal. So,
but even for
That's not like that crazy of
yeah,
you know?
even
Like
for
that's
North
not
Carolina standards, like they
you're
got
North Carolina. Like
got to be competing for the Hunter Dickinsons or like the Nick Timberlakes
to throw out your recruiting class like in high school. Yeah, for sure. Like you're just banking on Armando Bacot. Yeah, he's going to average 17 and 13 or something again. But like, are you going to win a title?
Record. They'll be 17 and 13. That'll be their record. It'll be the same.
Yeah, like
stat
I think at best you're going to be like an 8 or 9 seed this year. Like that's your best case scenario. Like I don't see them being a top team. I mean, RJ Davis is a nice player. I like RJ Davis. There's no way in hell Leaky Black has eligibility, right? He's gone. I'm just thinking about it. He's got to be gone. No way in hell that guy is out. Leaky Black's somebody who's been at North Carolina since the 2016 national championship team or whatever, 2017, whatever it was. He played with Marcus Page.
Yeah, he's done. He's done. He's had 5 full years.
I think he played with Justin Jackson and Marcus Page, dude. Like seriously, those guys are like 30 now, and Leaky Black was playing with them, I believe. But yeah, I'm curious to see what like is going on with North Carolina. Like, are you just gonna like bank on RJ Davis and Bacot to become All-Americans? Like, is that like what you're banking on? Like RJ Davis, I mean, I feel like he's a nice player, but like Love was definitely the better of the guards when they were playing at their best and stuff. Obviously, Love had a bad season, but still, I'd still rather have Caleb Love than RJ Davis. I would still definitely rather have Caleb Love. But I'm curious. I just think North Carolina's just, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, really. The addition of Pete Nance last year was a bad pickup.
Try to replace Brady Manick with Pete Nance.
Pete Nance. But that was the number one team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just underwhelming. They need Hubert Davis needs to have a big year. Like big as in like consistent top 20, top 15.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be top 5 the whole year, but at least like get back on track.
At least, yeah, at least be a 5 or 6 seed in the
Yeah.
tournament. Like, be a good, solid team.
There's too much talent on that team for them to miss the tournament.
I don't understand the high school recruiting. Like, it's been recent years in general. Like, North Carolina hasn't been like killing the recruiting. They've been getting like 1 5-star a year. And it's just shocked. Like, I just would think more kids want to play for North Carolina, but maybe the mystique of it's going away. I feel like it definitely is going away though. Like, outside of this year's Kentucky recruiting class, it's like dominating them and Duke both having a bunch of 5-stars. I think Kentucky has 5, Duke has 4. Like, it hasn't really been like that the last 3 or 4 years. It's been random schools getting 5-star recruits, like Memphis, Arkansas, Auburn, like random like football schools for Auburn and Arkansas getting like top recruits.
I feel like those schools, and then you add in like either like a K-State or like Arkansas, Memphis, K-State, Houston.
It's not as much like back in like when we were like kids, like 2015, we were like middle school. Everybody went to Duke or Kentucky. Like, you'd have 6 5-stars at each school each year. And then Kansas would get like 2 or 3 and North Carolina would get 2 or 3, but both of them would still have like seniors that were good. But Duke and Kentucky would just be straight up freshmen out there. And it's just like, it's not like that anymore.
There's like a new blood of recruiting now, like high school recruiting.
Yeah, the high school recruiting is just way more spread out now. Like, this is more of a 10 years ago recruiting like landscape where like Kentucky and Duke got a bunch of them. Whereas normally recently it's not like that. It's really not. I'm trying to think, like, I mean, you look at the draft classes too, like a lot of the guys haven't been coming from those blue blood schools anymore. Like, they haven't been having top 10 picks as much recently and stuff. So it's kind of shocking, honestly, but it makes sense with the transfer portal, with everything just being more spread out and balanced. But I'm definitely curious to see what North Carolina does. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I think I'm right there with you. I think it's going to be curious to see what they do this upcoming season.
Another team I really just want to touch on real quick before we get out of here. Obviously, addition of Caleb Love, Hunter Dickinson leaving. Like, what do you think Michigan's going to be this year? Jed Howard's going to the draft. Michigan obviously had a down year. But I feel like this is kind of a big year for Juwan Howard, like, to be good. I definitely think it's a big year because you're too talented. You bring in too many guys to not be good. And last year they just weren't good. I mean, they almost got in and stuff. They were in the NIT, but like, it's not good enough to be NIT at Michigan.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it right now. They only have 1 recruit in the next year's class, so I expect them to be very active in the portal. And their one commit is George Washington the third, who's a
Caleb Love.
And Caleb Love.
You were talking about high school. Okay.
Yeah, they only had 1 high school recruit, but they've been
very active.
His
name is George Washington?
Yeah, George Washington the third.
All right, they got a former president coming in. All right.
But they've been very active in the portal. They add Caleb Love, obviously we've talked about. They add Trey Jackson from Seton Hall. Now they have Damari Burnett from Alabama. So I think they're being very active in the portal, but I think that's what they had to do in order for them to be able to bounce back and get into that tournament run again. They were going to have to be active in the portal. Obviously, when you only have 1 guy in your recruiting class, you're expected to be active in the portal. And I like the way they've hit the portal, but I'm going to be curious to see how they all piece it together.
I'll say one thing, and Ethan mentioned this a minute ago, so I just think this is really funny. The only thing that's kind of just like it's so hard to keep up with, because obviously, like, we're supposed to keep up with it. Obviously, we talk about it. We're supposed to keep up with it. How many just random, like, bench players are in the portal? Like we keep talking, like, there's so many just, like, because you mentioned a minute ago, like, North Carolina, like, wow, they got Paxton Wojcik from Brown. Like, that's not like North Carolina who they should be getting when they don't have a good recruiting class. It's just there's so many just like guys in the portal, but there's not that many like real deal guys in the
Every
portal.
player has their just dream of where they think how good they are. Like
Yeah.
low major players who start think they should be Power 5, and the Power 5 guys who are on the bench still think they should be Power 5.
Yeah, I don't get
It's
that
a filter.
thought process. I think people have too much pride. I don't understand why there's not as many guys transferring down to, maybe get more minutes, get better, and like you'll still have eyes on you. Like you'll still have eyes on you overseas. The NBA will still find you if you are that good.
I
Like
mean, Imani Bates did it. We saw
John
him go
Morant
from-
was the second pick in the draft at Murray State. The second pick.
Look
Imani
at the
Bates is still
look at
gonna
the
get
recent
drafted.
tournament. How many 15 seeds have went on a Sweet 16 run
Like-
in the last 3 years?
Yeah,
3?
exactly.
Like,
Exactly. And it had never happened before. There's
there's
And
so
now
many
it just happens
Cinderellas.
regularly. 16 seeds have won 2 of the last 6 years or 5 years. 2 of the last 5 years. That had never happened before. Like, I don't understand why people don't transfer down nowadays. Like, you're still going to get seen if you're good. Like, it's like people have too much pride. Like, they have to play at a high major school. But it's like, if it's a better fit for you basketball wise and you actually get in, you're going to get seen more averaging 15 or 16 and playing lots of minutes, playing winning basketball at a mid-major school than playing for Rutgers off the bench, like never like playing 5 minutes a game. Like, sorry to do Rutgers like that. Good program. But Rutgers was just the first like random Power 5 basketball program I thought of. And it's
No,
just like, I don't understand it.
It has nothing to do with money either. Like you would think, oh, they stay in Power 5 because there's more money. Their mid majors have money. Like they have a lot of money to work with. It could be not as much as Power 5, but if you're on the bench in the Power 5 and you drop down and you're a starter in a mid major conference, you're still going to get pretty good money. Like you're going to be,
We talked about too. Here, I just want to add this real quick, Neil. We also talked about like mid-major doesn't mean you have to go to the SWAC or something like a really like low mid mid-major. You can also go play in like we talked about like New Mexico. You can play for like schools that like have a good program, a good foundation. Belmont, that program produces professional players, NBA or overseas, like produces great players. I mean, just like to come who am I thinking? Dylan Windler, was that his name?
Yeah, he's in the Cavs now.
Yeah, he's on the Cavs, but I mean, he's probably going to be overseas real soon. He hasn't really done anything, but him, Ian Clark, like you've had good players at Belmont. Like there's lots of mid-majors that have produced many NBA players.
And I mean, we also saw, this is a great topic point, we also saw Imani Bates step down and go home.
Step down, shoot 32% or whatever, and average 20, baby. I watched him multiple times because like I put a parlay bet on him or whatever, like take his over on his points when the NBA was on the All-Star break. So I was betting on college a lot. And Imani Bates has the worst shot selection I have ever seen, dude. He takes some of the most wild, like just like down 2 minute left, just fading away with 3 people on it, just airball. And I was like, oh my God.
he had no teammates to work with, so I kind of blame him.
Do you guys not remember Noah Farrakhan, though? He was a 5-star recruit, too, and he ended up there, too. I don't know how they both ended up there. Noah Farrakhan was a 5-star recruit. He was IMG's point guard. And then
Eastern Michigan's got the bag up there.
They must, because he ended up at Eastern Carolina as a 5-star recruit for some reason, and then ended up – so somebody was paying him big time.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild to think about.
Yeah. They had 2 5-star recruits on Eastern Michigan this last year. That's crazy to think about.
That is wild.
And they were like the worst team in their conference.
Yeah,
they had like 6 wins.
Yeah.
That just tells you like high school rankings are not.
Imani
Bates was
basically
considered
an AAU team. Like they weren't even a team. They were just an AAU team.
They were like watching an AAU team. They didn't run anything. They just chucked up shots the whole game. See if you hit something. But, all right, you guys got anything else to add?
No, I'm all good.
I'm all good. I thought this was a good episode. Thank you for coming on, Ethan. Thank you for talking with us for a little bit. I had fun. Talked a little bit about the portal. Made some jokes on some teams we don't know what they're doing, and had a good time. Follow us on all our socials. Links will be down below in the description. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitter or Facebook, follow us on there as well. Give us a like. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to your podcasts on, give us a review, and we'll see you on the next one. See you guys.
See you guys.